Do it.
Here's the thing, guys. Xenophobia in China it's always been there. Okay, and it's been there, and it's a tool that the government turns on and off.
Correct.
Ever since what they call the century of humiliation, they've now sometimes called it the 200 years of humiliation, whatever.
Up in the ante, eh?
Dates back to the Opium Wars and all that kind of stuff, right? They always use this whole idea that foreigners are the ones that came in and bullied us and caused us all the problems that we have, right? And they use that as a tool. So whenever the Chinese government fails, all they need to do is say, oh, it's foreigners' fault. And it's always been foreigners' faults. That's why they're always pointing the blame at the outside world for everything. So monkeypox, right?
Yeah.
Now, monkeypox, as we know, is a terrible disease that spreads around specifically through unprotected sex, and it seems to be in the gay community. It's spreading a lot, but it's spreading everywhere. It's something to be watching out for. And of course, China, with its zero COVID policy, has been so paranoid about any kind of disease that spreads these days. They've been very happy to report that they don't have any monkeypox outbreaks. And so
it's very important that China has an official declaration that they avoid all these things that plague other countries, basically.
Now, here's the thing, though. It's not like monkeypox is actually really plaguing other countries. It's not the same as COVID-19. It's awful. It's terrible. But, it's not as big as it's being made out in the news. All right?
Yeah, it's kind of calmed down.
Yeah, it's not like it's affecting every person.
No.
But, if you were to read the news, let's be fair, you would think that the whole of New York has monkeypox.
Sure.
And I guess that's what they're projecting in China as well through the news is look at all the cases in New York. Look at America's fallen to monkeypox, right?
I think that media coverage is definitely slowed down is my point. That's old. That's not like that anymore. You turn on the news, you don't hear about monkeypox anymore.
No, you don't. But the thing is, you do in China because remember, they like to build this fear of the outside world. They like to basically try and prevent anyone from having the idea that moving overseas is a good idea.
Yeah.
And they also want to try and bring as many overseas Chinese people that might have naturalized overseas to come back to China.
That's a big push right now.
Yeah, so they're saying things like, oh, don't stay in America. It's got monkeypox and other weird things. Come back to our safe China where we've got zero COVID. There's nothing to worry about here. You're free from disease type thing. That's kind of the vibe that's going on. So anyway, it turns out, at least from the insiders that told me, who were on the same plane, by the way, as the guy who came back, who had monkeypox.
Oh, is that the deal?
Yeah. Oh. Somebody who was on the same plane reached out to me. Doesn't want to be identified.
Oh, interesting.
It was a Chinese national that brought it back in.
I knew that part.
Yeah, but right in the beginning, they didn't want anyone to know that.
Oh, okay.
So right in the beginning, he reached out to me, said, yeah, it was a Chinese national that came back. He was on the same plane. So a Chinese national who was overseas doing some stuff, playing around a little bit, who knows, picked up monkeypox. He ended back up in China as the first, example of monkeypox in the country. Okay. What happens? You got this guy. What's his name again?
This guy? I have it written down. Wu Zhunyou.
Yeah, Wu Zhunyou came out and basically told everyone that...
his name's
I can see it. Look, we're in front of it.
In front of it.
Yeah. So anyway, he came out and his solution was, if in order to avoid getting monkeypox is don't touch foreigners. Okay?
Yeah.
It was a Chinese national that brought it in.
Yeah.
It shows you how the xenophobia works, right?
Also, that's not how you get it. You don't go like this and you get monkeypox.
I don't know. I still wouldn't want to touch someone with monkeypox. It looks kind of gross.
Obviously.
Someone looks like looks like he's got smallpox or something.
Sure. It's related, isn't it?
You're not like, could I touch that?
Well, wait. Because the other day when I saw a case, I said, do you mind if I squeeze that a little bit?
Yeah,
I just want to see what it feels like.
What does it taste like?
Can you open the sore?
Yeah, exactly. You're not going to want to... I'm just saying, right?
Yes.
Enough.
Yes. Anyway.
Yeah, awful disease. Anyone who's suffering from it, I hope you recover very quickly. Yeah. It's disgusting.
Thankfully, it doesn't have the same, mortality rate that COVID did initially.
Yeah.
Anyway, can we get into the meat of this?
Sure.
So monkeypox is obviously the scourge of the immoral West, according to the Chinese government, right?
Yes.
And we, as good Chinese people, upstanding people that have great disease prevention, the head of the CDC epidemiologist dude is obviously going to say that we know how to take care of it, and the problem is from the outside. That's the state narrative, so don't touch anyone from the outside. Let's look at this statement.
Okay. By the way, don't ever touch someone and lick your finger, because it might just be
好吃，好好吃。
That's actually what the state doesn't want you to know, is it could be 好吃.
So-
好吃.
What is this statement exactly that he put out?
I'll read
So
the
just in
translation.
case anyone thinks we're twisting the words of the,
Yes.
this is, by the way, the official CDC. What is it? What is his title? He's the chief
chief
epidemiologist. So it's a chief epidemiologist or epidemiologist of the Chinese Center for Disease Control.
So you can imagine he had something.
It's like
to do-
Fauci or something,
Yes, exactly. You can imagine he has quite the role to fill when it came to COVID. So we'll come back to
Yeah, we'll come back to that.
Says Wu Zunyo on how to prevent monkeypox infection. September 16th, Chongqing City confirmed a case of imported monkeypox cases. Man, Chongqing just not a great place.
No, Chongqing, no, let's see, what's going
That's
on?
a bit of a dog whistle when you hear that city.
Yeah.
Wu Zunyo, the chief expert of Chinese epidemic disease control and prevention, explained monkeypox on Weibo on Wednesday. Now, Weibo is Twitter of China. He suggested, one, do not have direct skin contact with foreigners.
Now, before anyone says anything weird here, okay? The first thing that he says, his first point, okay, his number one. So this is the most important one. Why would you make this first, right? The first one means it's the most. No, I'm just saying the first point.
Yeah.
If you're going to give layout suggestions,
Because that's the only thing
is
they
the
care
most
about.
important
They
one.
don't care about monkeypox.
No,
they
no.
care about ostracizing the
Yeah,
outside
but what I'm
world.
saying is if you're going to make a
Yes.
list of things to do,
Yes.
the first one on the list is the most important. And he said, do not touch foreigners. Okay, do not have direct skin contact with foreigners. In other words, touch them.
Right.
For those of you who might think, oh, he just meant people that are, coming from outside of China. No, it says Wai Guo Rin.
Yes.
Okay? And if you know Chinese, Wai Guo Rin means somebody who's not Chinese.
Yes.
In fact, they still call us Wai Guo Rin here. Okay, and it pisses me off to no end, because if you go to a supermarket in, like an Asian supermarket in the USA, and you overhear people talking about the locals, they will say Wai Guo Rin.
Yeah.
So
Some of them.
yeah, I've heard it a lot.
Yes.
So I don't like being called a foreigner. I mean, I technically am a foreigner.
I'm not.
Yeah, I am a foreigner in America, so I guess it's okay. But for you, it's,
Yeah, for me,
they're
it's
calling
like,
us foreigners. It's like, get out of here, man.
no.
Come on. Who's, don't do that.
I don't call them a foreigner.
No.
Anyway.
The fact of the matter is, Wai Guo Rin means not Chinese. So they have other words for Chinese people that are overseas, like Hua Ren, Hua Qiao,
Yeah.
okay? They've got other words for that. So even if it's a Chinese person who has immigrated and actually naturalized and become American, they will not be called a Wai Guo Ren. They will still be called a Hua Qiao or a Hua Ren or something along those lines. So Wai Guo Ren means somebody who is of a different race, someone who looks different to a Chinese person. Okay, so it's not, just don't get it confused. It's not like they're saying, oh, anyone from the outside of the country, right? They mean not Chinese.
That's correct.
So that's number one. Do not make skin contact. And I got to say that this is one of the most xenophobic, racist ass things to say. I'm from South Africa, and during the apartheid years, there was no one saying that you cannot shake hands with someone from another race.
Right.
All right? It's worse than the apartheid government here when it comes to this is an official statement. Do not touch foreigners.
Right.
Do not touch people of another race is what's being said here.
Right.
It's disgusting. CDC, head of the CDC. It's like if Fauci came out and said, don't touch Mexicans or something.
Right.
Yeah. It's awful. It's racist. It's xenophobic. It's garbage.
Yeah. Says, do not have skin contact with people who have recently returned from abroad within 3 weeks. Do not have skin-to-skin contact with strangers. Pay attention to hand hygiene.
I got a question for you.
Yes.
I mean, everyone starts out as a stranger, right?
Yeah.
So that just means you can't ever have a relationship. You can't
Here's the
shake
deal.
someone's hand.
You know what you can do?
What?
You can have full contact with someone with monkeypox, as long as they're not a stranger.
Yeah, there we go.
As long as you know them.
Yeah, you
that's
know
fine.
them. I mean, like you're striking out a business deal, right? And there's a guy, and you're not allowed to shake his hand. Oh, My CDC said I can't.
Buy me a drink first.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then they
Let's
have a drink. And
yeah.
he's
Tell
like,
me,
"All
what are
right."
your hobbies?
Then the
Yeah.
tongues come out.
But I mean, seriously. Yeah, let's get to know each other a little. Sit down, have a drink.
You mind if I lick those sores?
Gross. And you're like, okay, cool. Like, now I know what you enjoy. No, we're not strangers anymore. I'll shake your hand.
All right. Yeah, that's how it works.
Nonsense, yeah.
It says, pay attention to hand hygiene. Use of public toilets, including toilets in hotels for business travel. If a toilet is used, use disposable toilet paper as much as possible. Now, before you laugh at disposable toilet paper, it just means toilet paper. It's just the direct translation. It would be funny, though, if you didn't speak Chinese and you read that as disposable toilet paper, because you'd think, well, what's the non-disposable toilet paper kind? Do I carry a freaking cloth around?
I think is he not talking about those toilet seats?
No.
Okay.
No.
It was a show.
If conditions do not permit, you can use alcohol wet paper towels or paper towels dipped in hot water. Gotta bring the hot water.
Yep.
To wipe before using. Hot water is the cure-all in China.
So that's a direct translation.
Yes.
All right. As to what he said, that's even from the Global Times, which is the Chinese state, official media. So it's not something we made up. Okay, that's what it is. So remember, number one, no skin-to-skin contact with foreigners.
Yes.
All right. That's China's advice to avoid monkeypox.
Correct.
You know, it's actually horrible because this whole blaming foreigners for everything and foreigners are like a virus and a disease has led to some of my friends in China being called a virus. Okay? Seriously, people avoiding them. Oh, it's a foreigner. They must have COVID.
Yep.
You are a virus. Get out of China. That kind of thing. I've had that, like some friends of mine have had that shouted at them in China on the streets. Okay? It's led, if your government is force feeding you this crap all the time, you're going to internalize it, right?
Of course.
And you're going to think it's okay to behave that way because that's what CDC man said, right?
CDC man.
CDC.
It's like the worst
you know, I
superhero
actually
ever.
have a little excerpt from the end of his speech, by the way, that I wanted to share with everyone here.
Sure.
Okay? So, right at the end of the speech, he said this.
You got the touch! Yeah!
Wow.
That's what he said.
That's incredible. So he has the touch, or who has the touch?
Foreigners have the touch.
Oh, foreigners have the touch.
You got the touch.
You ever see Diary of a Wimpy Kid?
Yeah, I did.
You know about what it is, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, they do that thing where that gross piece of cheese is on the floor of the playground.
Right,
you get the cheese touch, and then you have to pass it on to someone else. It's kind of like that.
It's that, yeah. It's basically just stupid schoolyard crap. Anyway.
He does have a beautiful voice, though. It's almost like he was in a band, like a glam rock band from the 80s or something. Yeah. You know, like a hair metal type band.
Yeah, definitely was.
Epic voice.
Yeah, it certainly does.
If you guys remember... do you remember when the coronavirus started in Wuhan, right? And near the Huanan seafood market?
Yes.
I found an old interview.
And this is kind of important, actually.
Yeah, I found an old interview with Wu Zhunyou and also...
Wait, don't... It's a surprise. It's a surprise. So
he's going to show up first. So
okay, then we'll know. But let's go back and let's
to
take a look.
2021.
Yes.
A World Health Organization team is in Wuhan to explore the origin of the virus.
There's been a lot of blame being put around about this pandemic. It originated somewhere.
Oh, who's that? No, it's our good old friend Peter.
We'd find him again.
Yeah, good old ballsack is back. Well, back from the past. He's come back to the future.
Anyway, this is in the same interview with Wu Zhunyou, which is the epidemiologist in the CDC.
this is the same guy who said don't
the
touch
first
foreigners.
cluster of cases traced to a market.
Why has the data not been shared?
No, they didn't isolate the virus.
There he
That's
is.
the issue.
What about live animal samples?
It doesn't tell you anything if they only test positive. I do not suspect it's coming from what we originally thought.
There he is.
So
he's been running defense since day one for the Chinese government. He's basically, imagine, a actual peon of state narrative for Xi Jinping. And they released him out in the wild to go do interviews with foreign journalists to say that it didn't come from Wuhan, didn't come from China. And then he's running defense now by saying, don't get monkeypox by not touching foreigners.
That's right.
So I wanted to read you something real quick.
Go ahead.
So there's some Chinese netizens, right, that have been translated here. A Chinese netizen posted a question that was upvoted quite a bit, right?
Okay.
And they said, They basically said, what about foreigners that have been living in China for a long time?
Yes.
Right? Like, why would they have monkeypox? It doesn't make any sense. They've been
Sure.
isolated in China, right? But he refused to answer that. And then when journalists picked up on that comment, they reached out and he refused to respond to that as well.
See, that's a problem. The people I was telling you about earlier that have been called a virus, and people have been like avoiding them. In other words, like walking to the other side of the road, or just treating them very badly and poorly, and calling the security on them just because they're a foreigner sitting there.
Yeah.
These are the people that never left China.
Yeah.
Okay, these are the people that sat through those lockdowns. Like one of them is a guy who sat for 2 months in his apartment in Shanghai during this stupid lockdown. He's still being called a virus.
Yeah.
He did everything everyone else did, the daily nucleic acid tests. The inside of his nose is raw from that crap. He's been doing everything, but yet he's a virus because he's a foreigner. It's because this kind of crap.
It's on purpose. It's not a mistake. It's not like, we used kind of inflammatory language by accident. It's to ostracize the foreign countries that aren't China from China. The ultimate goal, no matter what you hear, and I say this over and over again, but I think it's really important, the ultimate goal of the Chinese government before they close off completely North Korea style is to make sure that the people hate the rest of the world.
Yeah.
Despite what the Chinese government says on a global stage, it says we want to be a part of the international community. Yeah. We want to be friends. We want to be partners. We want to participate in all of these global alliances and partnerships. What they actually mean is we want all the benefits from those things. We want to dictate what people can and can't do, and we want our own people to hate you.
And we want to take advantage of every loophole and every little thing that we can.
But at the end of the day, we want our own people in China to hate you and distrust you. That's
right.
actually what this means. And that's what this is about.
Yeah. So
just keep that in mind when you're trying to treat the Chinese government as an equal. You can't, because they think that you're subhuman.
Yeah, exactly.